Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Menkov. I'm a ruling reality coach, and I'm continuing my series Daily Reality with Alex. Today is 8th of March, 2023, and I would like to speak about female reality. Since anyhow, on the 8th of March, we are celebrating the International Day of the Female Energy, or the International Day where we celebrate that there are women in our reality. I would like to explore this topic because anyhow, all of us are daily in our reality, constantly, in a sense, entering into a lot of debates about the male and female energy. But the most important thing for me is actually all of us to understand what a beauty it is and why it's so important for all of us, the human beings, to be able to preserve both the male and the female energies in our reality. I know that all of us, because we the human beings are becoming so individualized, so self-sustained, we are living in a quite new type of reality where everyone can be alone, can be self-sustaining, and it's not necessary human beings to be so strongly working into cooperation and to benefit from each other's energy. As more we are living alone, we are living separated, we are trying to be everything that is out there. But for me, it's very important to know why reality is created the way it is created. And since I'm a ruling reality coach, I want to constantly explore everything that is as it is. And I'm very strongly proposing and endorsing to look at the obvious and then to find the beauty of all that we already have. So let's start with the beginning. In the beginning, we have the creation, and creation is not possible if we don't have the female energy. So in a sense, the female energy is the energy that is creating the environment for fertility, and that's why it's so important. Without this type of conditioning, multiplicational process is not possible to continue. And since this type of movement towards balancing the two energies, instead of recognizing and all of us just to honor the beauty of each of the energies, the male and the female energy, and to be reverent and respectful to each other's energies and to complement from each other's energy, and then to create a necessity for all of us to enjoy the interaction between the energies, we are led strongly into a movement where we are to balance first in each other, then in the society, then in the economics, and everywhere, just to balance the energy, so the human being to become like some type of an artificial intelligence, some type of a robotic humanoid type of being, where there is no emittance of the uniqueness of the energy that is reflected in our special form through the type of the bodies in which we are. But the more important thing is to understand what is happening with the knowledge at the top of the pyramid. Because I remember when I was thinking and reflecting upon myself, well, Alex, if one day somebody asked me personally if I'm for or if I'm against, and we can say so many things which we can be for or against, and through this type of different energies that are existing in our reality, and especially it is seen through the differentiation, through the way our bodies are expressing, because in our limitless beings, there is no any type of differentiation between the women energy or the male energy. But then the way, because of the bodies in which we are anyhow put already this type of bodies, we are able to express uniquely through the way we are put in our bodies specific type of expression that is more strongly reflecting this different type of energy, in the sense male or female. And in our own company, for example, we are having, I don't know if it's exactly 50-50 male or female type of people and workers that we have, but for sure we are not willing intentionally just to have women or just to have men, because we have seen in our personal experience that it is better to have all type of energies. And of course, there are much more typical specific personalities that are also expressed through our bodies, which are dependent on the different type of archetypes that we all are from the psychic point of view. But the important thing is to realize why in reality we have the male and the female energy, and why only male energy is not possible to represent and to exist in reality long term. For me personally, because I am a Christian, and there are a lot of debates in Christianity about the so-called Father God. And Father God is in male gender, and now there are a lot of debates, well, but if there is a one God, and if it's above the universe, and there is no it's oneness, and there is so much non-separation, so there are no genders, why we need to have this male type of gender put on a specific labels? We are to erase all the labels where there are genders, and little by little to erase from our consciousnesses everything that is connected to male and female energy. But we need to look into the reality why we have the so-called father energy. And when we go into the different type of mythos, we are going to understand that in reality, what is more important is not the specific individualizations, but the interactions that are connected. And then we are going to find the reason why we are in a necessity to be surrounded with all type of energies. For example, I enjoy being around female energy. Also, I enjoy the male energy, and I could never say that I'm just willing to abide just in one type of energy. And for me, it's very interesting how I can complement from the energies in which I cannot strongly express myself. And now when we go to the imagination and this image of the label in the male gender as the so-called father God, it is giving us the role of the so-called impregnating into the reality of the existence. But existence is not possible to happen, because immediately the human mind is always, when we receive a label, we immediately have a lot of emptiness around it. Immediately the question is, well, but if there is a female energy, immediately we know, oh, there should be a male energy, or the opposite. So if we have the father God, who is the mother? Where is the mother? And when we go into the different types of esoteric and mythical explanations about how everything in reality works and why we need to have initiating energy, then why we are to have receptive energy in order creation to be able to exist, and why everywhere in reality, in order flows to exist, initiation and receptions are always to be present. Why nothing is possible without seeding, and why everything, because we are living anyhow in a compartmentalized reality where everything is fractal, and in order everything to be fractal, seeds from the large should be in the small, and vice versa. So we are always have a connecting seeds that need to be recepted from the other type of fractal reality. So if we don't have the so-called female and male energy, nothing can exist. But Alex, what about if we, the human beings, because we are so clever, we know so much, we're exploring so much, that we are willing to try to balance the two energy and to create long-term a humanoid being that is able to be self-sustained, genderless, and then we are going to enter 100% wonderful bliss, because then we are going to have non-problematic, non-equality issues, and all of us are going just to have 100% neutral types of bodies through which we are able to express genderless experience. And I remember something, and this is not a joke because I'm in the pharmaceutical industry, and maybe it was almost 10 years ago. I was in a visitation to a psychiatrist that was working with in a government hospital, and he was the head of the government hospital, and he started talking with me that he is secretly working for NATO and for some secret projects where they are trying to create the human beings of the future. And I was really amazed. I said, well, this guy is a psychiatrist. Maybe he's just trying his medicines, and he's just taken some samples. So I didn't took him very seriously, but he was explaining how the human being of the future, because it is very secret thing, and he's just sharing it with me and nobody else. So I said, well, this guy's maybe not so well with his mind, but this was what came out of his imagination, that the beings of the future are going to be neither male, neither female. They're going to be self-sustaining beings where all the satisfaction they're going to receive from within. They will don't need anything from the outside environment, and they're going to experience long-term internal bliss inside of them, and they will know the need for anything from the outer environment in order to feel something. They're going to be such type of self-replicating type of beings, and they will don't need to have any sexual experiences or whatever, because they're going to be self-sustaining. And he was explaining with me this type of imaginations that he had, and I was just wondering about this, and I thought I immediately said to myself, well, this is something that it's not interesting at all, and I just forget it. But of course, you can never forget such type of a strange idea. And when I listen to a lot of news that are coming from time to time, and the different discussions that we the human beings are constantly putting into the reality, I see that long-term, this type of probability exists. And of course, there are different type of myths also. What was the situation and how actually the beings were created here, and so on and so on. And there are different type of probabilities. I don't want to go into them, but what is important to know is that while we are in this physical matter reality of forms, we are to 100% enjoy this reality where we have this female energy with us and this male energy, and then for example, in my personal experience, when I'm not afraid from my male energy to be expressed, though I'm 100% aware that sometimes it is rude, it is destructive, it is not so caring as the female energy, but that's why I have necessity to be around female energy that is to balance me in my work, in my family, in other projects that I'm doing. That's why I prefer not to be surrounded only with male beings. Wherever I go, for example, even in my fitness, I'm more in a fitness where there are a lot of female fitnessers, because it was a fitness in the beginning for pregnant women, and then they continue going into this fitness, and this is where I'm going 3 times per week, and I like it. For me personally, I enjoy to be around female energy as much as male, and so many times I'm embarrassed when I see how much efforts they're putting into their body shape, and how we, the male beings, are constantly taking this for granted, for example. And so many more things that I see in this female energy that are so strong. And of course, as a worker, we know how caring, how responsible is the female energy. And in our workplace, we are utilizing this a lot. Also, we know how tender and how attaching is the female energy, and how sometimes the male energy is there to be present in order to be able more rudely to detach out of some situations, some specific experiences. And that's why when we understand that heavens and earth were to be in existence in order multiplication and replicational processes of creation to exist. Also, what was interesting for me is that material and non-material are also to constantly exist in order to be able to go into this multiplication and replicational processes. So the way we are in the moment, in the reality, we are to enjoy it. Yes, it's with a lot of limitations. Yes, a lot of us can prefer to experience the different energy that we are in. But for me personally, we are to be able to utilize the energy in which we are put to experience. And of course, then a lot of people are starting to make different type of judgments regarding the advantages. And I know personally, because I have a daughter and she's my firstborn, then I have 2 sons. And I know, for example, maybe I realized it 1 year ago when I understood from my wife and my daughter that the female energy always feels threatened from the outside environment. I didn't know this. I said, how it's possible? I never feel threatened when I move around in the dark, in the evening. Why do you feel threatened? You are just afraid. It is not a good thing. Why you are entering such type of an experience in your psyche? But then I realized, well, this is a different energy. I'm to respect it. I need to understand that this type of energy needs a security of surrounding around it in order to feel the safetiness and not to be afraid from violence, and especially from sexual violence, from the male energy. And even if you go into this direction, you are going to understand what is happening behind the scene. behind the scene, behind this threatening, is still this understanding that the female energy that is responsible for the fertility, it cannot be forced. It is something that is only opened towards the male energy when it's secure, when it's in the right conditioning. That's why it's very interesting for all of us to understand how to know in the different type of environments how to use and utilize this type of energies that receive. Of course, we have heard that the female energy is very strongly involved into the care principle, while the male energy wants the achievements. But reality is not allowing achievements without the care principle. That's why, even if you go statistically, more of the successful men, for example, are the ones that are united in family with the female energy that is creating the care, and then this male energy is doing everything in reality, not for their significance, not for their personal success, but they start doing it because of the love for the female energy, because of other altruistic things that are influenced by the female energy. That's why, for me personally, to balance both of the energy is creating a much more interesting environment. But I don't mean balancing by each one of us just to balance our own personal energy so that I'm able to emit neither male, neither female energy. I understand that, for example, the male energy, there is a lot of distractional type of force, but this is part of the creational force that we, the males, have when we are into outer world performance. But also I understand that the compassion principle and the care principle of the female energy, where I am to constantly observe and perceive it by the female energy with which I am willingly surrounding myself, is helping me to see also other opportunities, other options, in order to be able to balance myself with this outside help from the female energy. And for me personally, this type of relationships where we understand the energies, why the energies are to be uniquely expressed as they are. I had some conversations in the past with some lady that is also very strongly involved into spiritual movements, and she was constantly telling me, Alex, I don't like this hero journey because it's too female. And I have found out for myself that there is also the heroine's journey, the journey of the female type of expression, where different things are important for the female energy, and we, the ones that are in the male bodies, are to understand also this part of reality. Because yes, each one of us have the right and the left hemisphere, but also we are to understand how to complement each other and how to respect and uplift each other energy, because we need each other, as well as the female energy needs the male energy. So also the male energy needs the female energy in order all of us to be able to experience much more compassionate type of reality. And since this is very strongly going into my awareness, and I have intentionally decided not to go into this trend where I'm going to be just a balanced, genderless type of expression, the moment I decided to go into this direction, immediately, paradoxically, much more respect I started to feel for the female energy. And the more I balance myself into the male energy, the more when I'm connected with women around me, I see how the female part of them is able to be also expressed, because we are not in competition, these two types of bodies. We are to complement each other for the benefit of the generative principle of manifestation in the reality. And since everything is created in this way, and you can see this type of male and female energy in all type of aspects: metaphysical, physical, invisible, visible, historical, non-historical, scientific, cosmological. Everywhere you can see this type of differences. Does it mean that the male energy, which thinks that it is dominant, because usually this is the energy that makes the first step, does it mean that this is the energy that is more important, that is more prevailing, that should suffocate the female energy? Immediately when the male energy goes into this direction, immediately the reality starts to change and to become more destructive, less compassionate, and long-term, it's the job of the reality to balance itself so that neither the male, neither the female energy long-term is able to prevail. And for me, this topic is very important, and I'm using it daily in my own personal reality. I enjoy it very much. I enjoy spotting these principles. I enjoy seeing the seeding principle in everything, in the different aspects of reality. I enjoy also understanding, when we understand the above and the below, from the perspective of the below, we are the receptive part, and the above is the so-called initiating part. So there we can say that I'm in this aspect, not the male energy, but the female type of energy, which is more receptive, which is more opening towards the initiation. But also with the different roles we are playing in reality, we are to understand how to utilize these energies. Is it shameful to be one energy or the other? For me personally, once we start revering both the energies in the way that we are trying to preserve their beautiful type of uniquenesses, because anyhow, both of the energies can go into different types of deviations. And this is also possible. For example, my sons, which are teenagers, were very strongly influenced by some type of male type of influencers that were strongly proposing that the male energy is very important, that women are nothing, and so on and so on. And they, because they're very young now, and they started to become afraid that maybe one day the women are going to just take out of them everything that they have, that they're something like a threat for them, and they start to develop some type of fears against the female energy. So once I'm able to spot this, once I'm able to present myself as an example, not as someone that I'm telling, no, this is not right, this is right. No, I'm sharing with them why I think the opposite is truth, why I have seen it in my own personal reality, that success came to me the moment I found the female energy in my personal reality, and only after this, everything in my life really blossomed forward. Of course, a lot of us, and even my sons, think that first they need to become successful alone, and after this, maybe when they're 30 or 40, and when they're very rich, only then they can have their own female energy with which they to be surrounded, and they're dreaming about their princess and so on and so on, but they think that first they need to give some type of deservement into the reality in order to be able to have a female energy around them. My personal view for all of us is that as much as fast as we are able to be connected and to be sustained as human beings with the opposite energy, and to start understanding and enjoying the probabilities and the possibilities of what future type of explosion of possibilities is possible when these two energies are closely working together. I'm endorsing this to happen as fast as possible. And I know that today's society is totally the opposite. And because people are studying and they want first to succeed, and up to 20, 40 years, they don't want to go into engagement between the two energies. But also we are to understand that this is by design from the so-called 1% and the industry leaders, that more and more people are divided and living alone and don't want to commute with each other and to enjoy this type of energy interactions. There is much more industry, bigger market for washing machine, for dryers, for cookers, and also then we need much more houses because everyone is living alone and we don't need to be together. And in the past, maybe 100 or 200 years ago, yes, then people needed to be together because we were so poor. Now we are so rich that all of us can sustain themselves up to 50, 40, or wherever we decide. We can join with other energy, but just for playfulness. Otherwise, for the serious business, none the male, none the female energy needs each other. And it's quite the opposite. For the serious business, for the most important part of the life decisions, then is when we need the balancing male or female energy to be surrounded with. And for me, this is a personal decision, a personal example. I enjoy it a lot. I know a lot of people that prefer just to stay in their individualized energy, or they're not willing to approach because of different type of limitations, bad experiences, and so on, or they didn't understand how to deal with this type of energies and so on. But for me, this is the most important and the most realizing thing, when I know how to be around energies that are opposite to mine and to enjoy them. So this is a very small talk and expression in honoring this 8th of March, when we have the International Day of the Female Energy. And so I just wanted to share the female reality, and that this is the most wonderful thing that can be expressed in our mutual reality, and that creation is non-genderless, but in it everywhere we can spot the female and the male part of the expression. But we can also spot how everything is working in such a correlation that we can never exclude only one or to enjoy only the other. So thank you for watching today. For me, this is a very important type of celebration of the female energy. And the most important thing is for all of us, especially the male energy people, to really appreciate and to respect every moment when the female energy is around us. So thank you for watching. Enjoy your reality and continue exploring, because everything is hidden in the obvious. Bye-bye.